And welcome everybody. Today we are join us to the first dev talk of the Bootcamp Coders. Today we have Mariana Romero with us, so she will talk about the Amazon Interview Challenge. Without further ado, let me present her to you. Hi,
Hello,
Mariana.
folks. Hi, how are you? Thanks for
Fine, and
joining.
you?
Yeah, I'm Mariana Romero. I'm going to do a interview challenge for Amazon. Basically, is an easy challenge, but well, we are going to review it and let's start with the problem. Let me share my screen.
Okay, before you continue, Mariana, can you talk about a little about you?
Well, I am from Mexico. I'm 27 years old. I'm currently working on the company Wiseline as a developer. I do challenge for fun. So when college passed me this challenge, I was like, I want to do it. So now I'm going to present my idea. To be honest, there are a lot of different ways to solve challenges. So this is my way. If you have any comment or maybe a suggestion, is welcome. So let's start with the problem.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Mariana. I'm going to leave and let you handle the presentation.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, okay. This is the problem. Your team at Amazon has been contacted by a telecommunication company that is trying to upgrade junctions boxes all over Techlandia. Some of the junction boxes have already been upgraded and other boxes have not. Your task is to identify the oldest boxes that need to be upgraded first, but leaving the newer model boxes so that they will not be prioritized. Okay. All the junction boxes are identified by an alphanumeric identifier followed by the space delimited version information. The older generation uses space delimited lowercase English strings to identify the version, but the newer generation uses space delimited positive integers to identify the version. Your task is to sort the junction boxes in the following order. The older generation junction boxes should be returned first, sorted by lexicographic ordering or of alphabetic versions. If there are any ties in the older generation, ties should be broken by the alphanumeric identifier. The newer generation boxes must all come after the older generation in the original order they were given in the input. Write a function or method to return a list of strings representing the correctly prioritized order according to this system. Okay, I'm going to show you, for example, the example. We have this box listed. As you can see, the first parameter is, as the problem say, the identifier, and the other, the rest is the content, or basically, the information about the boxes. The problem say that the older boxes identifier came with letters, English letters, uh, are displayed, for example, like this, and the newest boxes is with only numbers. So this is going to be like the newest version, and this is was the last version. So the output should come like this. Uh, First, the oldest boxes list, uh, ordered by alphabetic. Ordered by alphabetic letters, and after that, the newest boxes list. But there are some cases that maybe the content are the same, so we are going to order by the identifier like this. So let's start with the code review. this is my approach. Well, basically, this is the example, the order list.
Mariana,
So
sorry to interrupt you, but if you could increase your font, the font size of the Visual Studio Code, it would be great.
more
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, thank you.
okay, no problem. uh, this is, well, as I mentioned, this is the box list that we need to sort by prioritizing the oldest version to the newest version. So I did a get sorted list function to receive this list, and I made two new. Well, I'm going to divide this new list into two: the old boxes and the new boxes. For this, I start with a for to see each element of the list, and after that, I'm going to separate with the identifier and the content. Uh, well, all the list items are a string, so with this split, I convert it into an array, and after that, I destructure the array with, in the first position, this one is going to be the identifier, and the rest, everything else is going to be like the content. I did I put this with this spread operation, and after that I will check if the content with the join. I redo the array. Well, this is going to be like an array to string again, and basically what I do, if the content without the spaces and is a string again, uh, is not a number, that means that is an old list box. So basically I push this element into this new array, and if it's a number, or I mean, as you can see, this is going to be a number, this is going to be a number, I push the element into this new boxes array. And after that is the funny part, to sort the boxes by the definition. Well, but the problem says, first says that if there are if there is an item with the same content, we need to sort it by the identifier. If not, well, with the content is enough. So basically, what I do here is pass the array item, and after that, flag to sort by ascendant and descendant. This because when you have to sort by alphanumeric number, is you have to sort it by ascendant. Well, yeah, you have to sort it ascendantly, and if you have only numbers, is only descendant. So as I mentioned here, the new boxes are going to be descendant because the content is only numbers, and the old boxes, I don't have to pass this flag because here I set it as true, so it's redundant if I put here true. So what I do in here is I have the array, and I'm going to do exactly the same as here. I'm going to split the array. Each element of the array is a string, so I split to convert them in an array, to have the identifier and the content. And after that, I join the content into a string because I need to compare alphanumerically and the numbers. So basically what I'm doing here is, if the content is the same, we have to sort it by the identifier. So I use local compare to identify the element A with the element B. If it's a change, well, they're going to move. After that, I check the flag, to order by ascendant or descendant. Basically, as the identifier is alphanumeric number, well, alphanumeric, I don't know, string or whatever, I don't have to put like if it's descendant or ascendant. But the content can be numbers or alphanumeric types. So this is more like for the content, I have to check if it's descendant or ascendant, the sort method. So basically, if it's true, I compare A with B. If it's false, it's descendant type, so I'm going to compare B with A. And with all that, I'm going to use this method, array sort, with each new array that I create for all boxes and new boxes. And when these two arrays are well sorted, I concat them. So the old boxes are going to be first, and the new boxes are going to be the last one. So I concatenate these two new arrays and return it. So basically that's the code. So I hope you understand. If you don't understand me a little, well, you can in the Q&A section, you can well, ask me. So let's gonna run this. Okay, as you can see, first ones are the older boxes items, and this one is going to be the newest boxes. So as you can see, they are organized by prioritize the older, and after that the newest boxes to be shipped. So this is my approach. I know that there are something more accurate maybe, but I think it's a good start to thinking about how to solve a problem, to doing by steps, because this approach wasn't my first approach. For example, I tried to do with a regex, doing with regex or with the strings, but I found that in the arrays are more easy to separate the index of the array, because basically it's an index, the index 0, the index 1, the index 2. So instead of reading all the regex functionality that maybe you are not familiar with and it's more or less comprehensive, this approach is more easy to understand for other developers. So basically the first thing that you have to do with a challenge is doing the force bruta in Spanish, that if it works, it's okay. Now you have to redo it correctly or more efficiently. So thank you. I'm going to pass to the Q&A section if you want, or if you have any doubts.
Okay, thank you for your explanation, Mariana. Right now we have one question. Let me show it to you. Enoch Rojas asked, how was your logical process to begin answering the challenge? I mean, where do you start if you are beginner?
Okay, I'm going to be honest. When I read this exercise, I was like, I don't understand. I don't know. So basically, I read the examples. The example is, for example, you have this input, and this is the output, and it's probably that all the problems is going to have these examples, the output, and sometimes they have explanation, sometimes not. But it's better to understand like the logic of the example. I mean, okay, what's they're sorted. Of course, it's not for these parameters because it's not logical here, but here are something logical, like for example, cat, dog, rabbit, snake, cat, hamster. It's sorry, like you find out, and after that, what's happened when there's something these are similar. Well, you see now that the identifier is important because these are sorted by the identifier after, and it's like okay, so you have to, the first approach that I recommend you is to write the logical that you are seeing. For example, okay, my first logical is the index 1 to n are sorted. When are similar, they are sorted with the index 1. So you have to, for example, write something like that. Okay. For example, sorry. The first logic is to sort by the index 1 to n. So you are going to write like pseudocode, and after that you are going to, well, code. Is the same approach when you first programming the test, and after that programming your functionality uh, with all this. For example, if are the same, you must well, for example, this, the older generation junction box should be returned first. So you do that functionality. If there are any ties, the older generation ties should be broken by the alphanumeric identifier. So you after you finish this, you pass to write the code about with these specifications. That's basically my advice to you when you are starting doing challenge or start doing, well, yeah, code challenge. uh,
Sorry, I was mute. Yeah, that sounds amazing. Actually, what you mentioned is uh, well, one of the best approaches. Start working on making one point work, and then after that make some changes or modify your code so that the next requirement was fulfilled. uh, well, we have another question from Jorge Bernal. I think that that question was answered to Enoch. If you cannot, let us know if you have any other question, please. Let me show you the one from Jorge Bernal. He asked, are you using JSON only? I guess I'm not sure if he meant JavaScript only or for, because we are not using JSON.
well, it
Let's
depends of how you feel more comfortable with. uh, it's typical that that the challenge are, I mean, the problem is the same, but you can use different programming languages. I feel more comfortable with JavaScript, so I did with JavaScript. But yeah, I don't know if you know these applications that are for solving codes, for example, HackerRank or LeetCode, that basically they put these challenges and you can choose your favorite language to solve it. So um, you can create the solution with your favorite programming language. So it's not necessary to be JavaScript.
Okay, thank you, Marina. One question from my own. What will you say was the hardest part of the challenge?
The hardest part, I think, the logic. Well, yeah, obviously, but
Doing
um,
it right.
I think was the part of, sometimes I think overthink the things. I mean, I think that is not the solution efficient. I mean, because in my mind is okay, this is my solution, but I know that it could be solved better. So I search and search to look in that. No, I think it's something more. I think is other ways to do it more efficiently. So I think that was the hardest part for me to overthink the process. That maybe it's not that difficult, the problem, But yeah, my first approach is no, it's difficult. I don't know. I don't understand.
Yeah, because it sounds by the way that the problem looks or the challenge, it looks like it's going to be really hard, right? But after you start reading it and checking everything, it goes at first it was like how I am going to compare these junk boxes or join boxes or junction boxes, and then after that you find that it was really sorting two arrays, right? So it's
Yeah,
not after you take a look a deep look at the code or at the challenge, you find that it's not that hard to start with, right?
yeah, totally.
Okay, we have another question from Abimael. He asked, what does local compare do?
Well, basically, local compare can do a lot of things. If for example, I don't remember quite sure, but sometimes if you uh, bueno, se supone. Well, local compare basically do to compare strings is with the strings. So uh, basically what they do is compare strings, but you can pass more argument. For example, here. Uh,
If you want, I can add or
oh
I can
yeah,
answer
please.
that question. Okay, don't worry. The main function of local compare is to compare characters, but in the cases that you are using I forgot the name in English, the accent letters, it's going to compare across that accent letters. For example, if you have an A and an accented A, for example, you have
For example, this one. No?
yeah, something like that, it's going to compare in the right order, or you can compare based on the locales or the localization of the text. For example, you can compare based on the French rules or Spanish rules or any other language rules that you have. And if you only compare, if you compare just by checking the letters, it's going to be an
As
ASCII ASCII comparison.
yeah, because actually you can pass more parameters. For example, if you are going to check the rules in English or in French. I think this is French, but I don't remember. uh, well, I can compare. If you only pass this, it's going to compare only for ASCII. But if you want to compare with more languages or whatever, you can pass different parameters.
Okay, perfect. Jorge mentions that well that he meant in JavaScript he was researching about JSON and their cables crossed. Okay, so another question that I have, what tips will you mentioned that you have more than 2 years working with React and JavaScript, so you have a different approach at these challenges. What if someone is just starting with coding in JavaScript? What will your tips will be for that person? For example, what would you recommend for someone that is starting in coding?
Well, as my job, I work with this every day. So for me, the constance is key. So I don't think that there is like a magic recipe to you have to do this and you are going to be the perfect programming and you're going to be the next I don't know CEO of a big company. No, there is no like a magic recipe, but the constancy is a key. So I would recommend you to do challenge. It's difficult, but it's so much. I don't know. So much fun or so much. Mm, I don't know. That feeling when okay, it's difficult, but I made it. So I can do this, and I can do maybe another more difficult. So for me, is that to solve different problems. Yeah, try to do different. code challenge in the different applications that are in the webs, lead code, HackerRank. Start with the basics, and after that, if you say, okay, I think this kind of challenges I can do it very quickly, let's move on to the next step, to maybe a medium hard or hard
Or
challenge.
crazy hard, right?
Yeah. So, and also, don't try to reinvent. Well, in Spanish is reinventar la rueda. There are so many, for example, local compare exists, so you don't have to do like, no, if I see it, well, with three
Yeah,
calls.
like create by yourself the functions that the
Yeah,
language
there are so
already
many
gives you.
functions that
Mhm.
already exist. So, read the documentation. This career is always growing, is always uh, having new features, so it's important to be uh, well, yeah, upgraded, read the documentation, read, see sometimes these new, well, I don't know if there is like a recent conference with the new approaches or the new features that they made, but I really enjoy to see it, to see what's the next level
The
of
new
the next,
features.
yeah,
Mhm.
the new features to use to basically do more easier job. So yeah.
Okay. Another question. What was the hardest thing that you faced when starting coding? What was the most difficult part of coding for you?
For me is to understand how the programming languages work, because I'm going to be very honest. When I say I was researching my career, I was like, well, I'm staying the computer all day. Maybe a career in computer science is for me. But when I entered to the career, I was like, what? What is this? But understand all the different programming languages, and they're like, they're some so different, but at the same time so equal to to
So
think.
similar, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So basically, that was the hardest part, to understand that they are different, but at the same time they are similar. uh, but at the end, you are going to choose the more easy for you. I mean, for me, I started coding with C sharp or C++, C. When I learned JavaScript, it's like, no, I prefer JavaScript so much. So, yeah.
So you are more a front-end developer, a back-end developer, or a full stack developer? Or where do
Mm,
you find yourself?
at first, I was more like a full stack developer because I started working as a full stack developer on IBM. But the past 2 years, I'm more comfortable right now with the front end because, well, my job requires to be a front end in this moment. So it's more like, I prefer to do full stack, but the circumstances right now is I'm more comfortable working with front end.
Okay. Another question. Do you have time, right, for
Yeah.
another question, or at least one or two more questions? If you could have made something different or did something different through your career in coding, what would that be? Like maybe started working before, or maybe checked some languages, or what will you have done differently?
Mm, I don't know. I think nothing, because I can be, well, in one moment I thought to quit the career because I don't know what was doing. But after that, I researched that this career is so, I don't know how to say this in English, noble. So, well, you can find here or in China the same job, or you can read the same code here to an Indian person or to an English person. It's the same. It's the same. I mean, I don't have to restudy my career to understand that. That's, I don't know. I don't think that I change anything. I think everyone have their own path, and I think my path is good. It's great at the moment. Maybe I change to to start working with JavaScript early, but no, I think it's a good path because I learned different programming languages. I found that I really enjoy the web programming, so no, I don't change anything.
Okay, perfect. Right now, you know that there's like this really shortage of women in coding. What will you, as a woman, what were the challenges that you confront during your career and right now as a worker, a coder?
Well, yeah, for example, in my university, I was like the only woman for different classes, so it was difficult because as this world is very masculine, let's going to say that, um, sometimes they don't trust in your capacity. So
They underestimate you, right?
yeah, yeah, but only in the school. In the companies, I don't face this kind of problem. But yeah, in my with my teams or with my college members, it's kind of difficult to, well, to I don't know how to explain in English, to demonstrate, well, to
To
demonstrate
prove,
that you know
that you.
that you can do
Mhm.
it, that you are not only, uh, for example, to make the documentation, or oh yeah, you can read it or whatever. It's like, well, I can code too. I don't, I know how to work with code. I know how to solve problems. I don't want to read or do the documentations or do the presentations. I don't want it.
Yeah,
So
like
for
I
me,
have the same or more abilities than everybody, right?
yeah, yeah. So I don't know if it's only here in Mexico or in the world,
Well,
but
sadly, it's all the world.
yeah,
Full
I
world, the
think.
women are being confronted by these situations, and sadly, it helps the amount of women that are coders and have these programmer jobs and engineering careers. So, what will be your tip or your suggestions to maybe we have many women watching this right now, and they are thinking about joining or studying coding. What will be your suggestion for them, or
Mm,
one word of advice to them?
there are now like different campaigns going on to increase this bridge of genders, that males and females are not like a lot of in this, well, this in this career. I will recommend it that do hackathons or do these new events that are for women. If you don't know how to code, it's not, doesn't matter. They teach you like think and to solve problems in different ways. So for me is to participate in these events are funny, are very, well, you have another perspective of different situations. um, you can be more, well, you can check how is the work, how is the work working as developer. So yeah, I encourage, well, we women, everything, everyone. I
Okay.
encourage you to participate in these events because I probably, if I participate in these programs before, I'm I'm going to start, well, I um Well, yeah, just participate on that event because they are so funny and you can learn a lot of things and new different people and work in something that it's creative. So it's not
Okay,
only doing maths, it's not only write code, it's more.
it's more things about the programming community and about this underestimating or underestimation that you suffer in college. What will your tips be to that to women that suffer the same thing?
mm, no se dejen. Well, extend your hand and say, I can do it, and I can do it better that you do, maybe. But yeah, speak. Basically, if you don't want to do the job or you don't feel comfortable doing the different, I don't know. Well, if you don't feel comfortable, speak because it's going to have more. You're going to be more confident and you can prove yourself that you are more than just doing documentation or something else.
Okay, thank you. So that will be all the questions that the viewers sent and that I had. I'm not sure if you want to add something else
Well,
about
thank you for
yourself.
joining. I know
Okay,
that maybe I don't express myself very quick,
oh,
very
you did
good, but
great. Don't worry.
I'm sorry.
You did great. Do you have any social network handler, Twitter, LinkedIn
I have a
that you want to
LinkedIn.
share?
You can find me as LinkedIn slash IN slash Marian 0394. Marian 0394. You can,
Something like this, right?
yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, well, thank you so much for joining here and being part of this the bootcamp coders. It was the first dev talk that we have, and it was amazing. Thank you so much for being here, and for everybody that's seeing us, thank you. We'll have these dev talks maybe weekly, bi-weekly. So it will be great if you could join us and share. And remember to share with everybody so more people can watch us. So thank you, Mariana, again,
Thank
and
you.
bye bye. Thank you,
Bye.
everybody.